address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Nafisa Collier.
Everyone assumed it was just another brand drop, until the WNBA commissioner allegedly caught wind of it, and completely spiraled. What should have been a straightforward Caitlin Clark endorsement somehow escalated into full organizational chaos, hushed conference calls, tense internal meetings, and a whole lot of strategic radio silence. And here's the kicker: the spot didn't violate a single guideline. It just violated pride. Stay tuned, because the response reveals far more than the advertisement itself ever could.
This is one of the moments a lot of people has been waiting on. Of course, Caitlin Clark now has her own brand logo with Nike, and everybody's been like, where's the love? Where's the rest of the love been? We've been very critical of Nike on this channel for that. I would have loved to have seen Caitlin Clark say, you know what? I'm going to get away from my agent. I'm going to get away from Nike. I'm going to go with somebody else. Agent and brand representation for shoes and other.
Athletic brand Christmas Day was supposed to be untouchable. Not untouchable in any spiritual way, but untouchable in the business continuity way. The singular morning when emails remain unopened, devices stop buzzing, and leadership convinces itself that the madness they orchestrated all year has graciously decided to pause.
You saw it in my statement that I have the utmost respect for Nafisa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better. We know how great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how.
For WNBA leadership, this was supposed to be that morning. Following a season packed with record viewership, endless controversy, internal friction, and digital warfare that resembled less like basketball conversation and more like a televised intervention, everybody craved quiet.
Nike giving us a commercial, stirring up some buzz, giving us a potential release date, a time frame for when her shoe's going to come out, her signature collection already slowly starting to trickle out.
The brand of quiet, where sports media focuses on football heroics, basketball holiday showcases, and holiday fashion disasters, not women's professional basketball drama. And then precisely at 10 in the morning, Nike decided tranquility was boring.
So today, this is dropped on Christmas. They waited to Christmas. I assume this will probably come out during NBA basketball today. Caitlin Clark's quote from Anywhere Nike ad features Travis Scott and the Kelsey brothers. They are in this ad. We're one step closer to Caitlin Clark's signature shoe unveiling. But before that, the moment has arrived in 2026. Nike has released the first official spot centered around the women's basketball superstar.
An alert appeared, not from league officials, not from franchise accounts, not from any sanctioned WNBA platform that could be controlled, diluted, or reframed. It dropped directly from Nike, sleek, deliberate, and entirely indifferent to the reality that it was about to obliterate someone's festive piece. 30 seconds of runtime, massive production value, cinematic execution, Caitlin Clark dominating every frame. And immediately, Christmas morning transformed into crisis management mode inside WNBA command. Because this wasn't simply footwear promotion. This was a sovereignty statement. To comprehend why one advertisement could allegedly trigger commissioner-level holiday panic, you need to grasp how the WNBA has historically functioned. For years, the organization has emphasized collectivism. The institution outweighs the person. The umbrella brand takes priority. Everyone receives equivalent exposure, theoretically, because no single athlete should overshadow the entity. It's an ideology that appears righteous, cautious, and collaborative. And it's also an ideology that crumbles instantly when genuine superstardom enters the building. Enter Caitlin Clark, wielding disruption wrapped in swoosh logos. The commercial didn't register as sports content. It registered as cinema. Frozen landscapes, improbable accuracy, cultural weight saturating every second. Guest appearances from figures whose wealth alone could purchase multiple WNBA organizations without hesitation.
Caitlin Clark's first official Nike ad for her merchandise line for the CC logo, with all of it dropped, and it is so good. And then they went and dropped a second one. They're both on her Instagram. I'm going to show you some of the first, First of all, it features some heavy hitters. Second of all, the way that it features so many places that were important to Caitlin Clark is just so thoughtful and incredible. Her neighborhood in West Des Moines, the University of Iowa, the Indiana Fever, the New Heights spot, like everywhere. Let me show you.
And what disappeared spoke just as powerfully as what appeared. Zero prominent league presence, zero indication this celebrated women's basketball. Collectively, this spotlighted one individual, one identity, one vision, one declaration. She doesn't operate within the framework. She defines the framework. That's where the fury allegedly ignited, because when your leadership, whose primary function involves maintaining equilibrium, perception, and authority, witnessing a partner broadcast globally that your approval is irrelevant, registers less like promotion and more like rebellion. Nike didn't merely spotlight Caitlin Clark. Nike elevated her beyond institutional boundaries. They didn't request input. They didn't synchronize strategy. They didn't perform the collaboration theater. They simply went live and allowed digital culture to amplify everything. Ownership demanding difficult explanation. And somewhere amid that chaos, the commissioner understood that authority had eroded. While she focused on preserving careful alignment, the commercial specific intensified everything. Zero WNBA highlight reels. Zero acknowledgement of organizational legacy.
Dick's Sporting Goods giving Caitlin Clark her own part of the website. We've been on Nike's neck as of lately. Dare I say, this actually shows some creativity? Dare I say this Caitlin Clark is proof that you can make it from anywhere is brilliant? Let's take a look. Make it from anywhere, of course. Of course, at face value, anywhere on the court. She's hitting logo.
Zero visual confirmation that this phenomenon exists within broader infrastructure. Instead, the advertisement existed purely in Clark's sovereign territory. A residential driveway transformed into performance space. Weather became aesthetic. Range became metaphor. The communication wasn't ambiguous. It indicated her influence transcends venues, transcends organizations, transcends geography. From anywhere wasn't merely copy. It was notification inside league headquarters. That notification hit like impact, because the understood arrangement has always been that corporate partners and leagues coordinate movement. You elevate us, we elevate you. You move product, we move attendance. But this spot shattered that gentleman's agreement dramatically. Nike clarified brutally that their allegiance isn't toward WNBA institutional marketing, equity structure, promotion as progress. The commissioner had publicly endorsed it, packaging it as resolution to visibility gaps in athlete income. Internally, they allegedly offered Caitlin Clark everything to secure participation: unprecedented compensation, minimal obligation, opportunity to anchor another league experiment. She declined.
Caitlin Clark's shoe is on her way. Yesterday on Christmas, Nike finally dropped a commercial featuring Caitlin Clark and her new Nike logo. Last year, she signed an 8-year deal for $24 million with Nike, which includes a signature shoe. And then we hadn't heard anything about it for forever. Now she's finally getting a commercial showing her shoe is on the way. And while the commercial's not up to like Asia Wilson levels of fun, it's still a cute little commercial featuring shooting her signature logo 3, stating from anywhere, meaning she can shoot from anywhere. And the commercial has cute little Easter eggs featuring like her Upward team from when she was a kid, her driver from where she used to practice all the time.
At that moment, the prevailing interpretation suggested she was forfeiting opportunity, that she was abandoning responsibility to advance the sport, that she was prioritizing recuperation over duty. And then Christmas morning arrived, Nike released the commercial and obliterated that interpretation in 30 seconds. The metrics revealed devastating reality. Within 24 hours, Clark's spot generated more engagement than the entire unrivaled league launch initiative combined. Not marginally, exponentially. It was the comparison type that makes strategic presentations quietly vanish from executive agendas. That's when comprehension truly crystallized. The organization didn't manufacture Caitlin Clark into stardom. The star was forcing the organization into relevance behind her. And once that comprehension settles, negotiating power dissolves. Celebrity cameos that carry serious price tags. It was the advertisement format anticipated during championship broadcasts, not as relaxed holiday morning content. And every element communicated investment, which rendered the disparity impossible to overlook. Here existed Caitlin Clark, representing multi-million-dollar promotional infrastructure, while the organization she competes within still battles production limitations, distribution challenges, and compensation that barely registers against revenue she creates independently. The spot didn't merely market footwear. It revealed the chasm between personal worth and organizational payment.
Been waiting on this one. We have been waiting for Caitlin Clark to make her return to the Kelsey Brothers New Heights podcast. She made her way back and talked about her new sneaker that's going to be dropping. They're going to be better than Jordans, better than Kobe's, all of that. All of that. I can't wait to get mine. I can't wait.
But the one thing I'm frustrated with is I think she has the worst marketing team ever. I've never seen a marketing team that allows a player to completely alienate her consumer base. Guys, I didn't watch a shoe commercial. What I watched was Nike still trying to do a diversity commercial.
For leadership navigating collective bargaining and strategic expansion, that's existential anxiety material. Because now every athlete, every representative, and every union voice possesses visual evidence that resources exist. They're simply not channeling through official structures. Ownership allegedly wasn't pleased either. When your primary commodity creates promotional phenomenon, and zero revenue reaches your accounts, interrogation begins. Why aren't we capturing returns? Why wasn't this orchestrated? Why does it appear the organization is spectating while Nike processes transactions? Decorated veteran champion consistency personified. Also Nike endorsed. Also worthy, and yet the distinction in execution was unavoidable. Clark's spot registered as blockbuster. Wilson registered as checklist. Whether that assessment was justified became irrelevant. Perception dictates reality in athletic promotion, and the perception that Nike was providing one athlete premier treatment, while others received baseline service allegedly ignited existing friction. Don't contact.
Call it a comeback. Well, kinda. It's not like Caitlin Clark fell off or anything, but she was just absent for so much of 2025 after the huge 2024. And it seems like things are lining up for her to have a massive 2026. There's really three reasons behind that. I'll go through them one after the other. But the first reason is the Nike collab, right? We've seen the commercial. It's I feel like going to go down as one of those iconic spots that people will remember for a long time.
Established athletes who spent careers sustaining the organization suddenly witnessed a newcomer receive promotional investment, typically reserved for legendary status. Resentment doesn't require evidence to flourish. It only requires disparity. The commissioner had already invested recent seasons, attempting damage control, aggressive contact, targeting accusations, digital conflicts. The organization was already navigating precarious territory between competition and disorder. This commercial didn't merely disturb that balance. It violently disrupted everything. Now suddenly every aggressive contact gets recontextualized. Every confrontation gets interpreted as envy. Every physical sequence becomes evidence of broader narrative about disrespect and imbalance. And when athletic competition transforms into symbolism, the product deteriorates. Nike didn't conclude there. Acknowledge history, recognize trailblazers, demonstrate legacy transition. This advertisement bypassed ceremony completely. It didn't request historical permission. It didn't await gatekeeper validation. It simply positioned Clark alongside international male icons and challenged anyone to dispute the presentation. For dedicated supporters and retired athletes who prioritize heritage, that registered as dismissal.
I've been patiently waiting for the Caitlin Clark sneaker since Iowa. Honestly, we've been waiting since Iowa. I don't know what took Nike so long. Maybe she'll break it down. I feel like they should have had her signature sneaker ready to go for her rookie season. Like, it should have been ready to go. She should not have had to wait until year 3. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Y'all put the Caitlin Clark stuff on hold because of an Asia Wilson sneaker? We know why y'all did it. Y'all didn't want outrage. I get it.
But regardless, impressive. For leadership, it manufactured another impossible equilibrium. How do you maintain veteran investment when organizational future is marketed as disconnected from its foundation? And then existed the individual dimension, the statement that never quite disappeared, the one regarding athlete appreciation. It was intended as authority demonstration, but language has tendency to age poorly when conditions shift. Because this commercial was the perfect response. Without verbal communication, it demonstrated that Caitlin Clark doesn't require anyone's gratitude. Her worth exists autonomously. She delivers the viewership, she delivers the partnerships, she delivers attention, and that disparity creates instability. Once the conversation transforms from whether an athlete deserves league participation to whether the league deserves surrounding the athlete, everything transforms. Suddenly, the concept of independent ventures doesn't sound irrational. It sounds reasonable. If 30-second content can exceed entire organizational initiatives, imagine what complete tour international exhibition network or partner-funded alternative could accomplish. Major corporations recognize this. Streaming platforms recognize this. Media conglomerates recognize this.
And Nike has done that, over the generations and with some of their athletes. But we saw that launch on Christmas Day, which lets you know that the arrival of the shoes and the other things are imminent. The merch obviously is already out there and available. The message there, you can make it from anywhere. You see New Heights, which she was back on. Well, I'll play you some of that in just a second. But you got all of this snowballing. And when that shoe arrives and all of this stuff drops in the spring, heading into the 2026 WNBA season, that only puts her back on the
roadmap. And the commissioner recognizes this too, which explains why the fury allegedly felt so visceral. Because fury is simpler than acknowledging fragility. Even the international dimension compounded frustration. The messaging promised accessibility from anywhere, worldwide phenomenon, international reach, and then supporters beyond American borders discovered they couldn't even purchase related products. Responses flooded platforms. Bewilderment evolved into irritation, and the commissioner exists centrally attempting to preserve infrastructure that was never engineered for this magnitude of individual influence. The paradox is this commercial didn't generate the crisis, it exposed it. The fury wasn't regarding footwear promotion. It concerned losing narrative dominance, concerning realizing that transformation arrived earlier than anticipated, and didn't bother requesting authorization. Christmas morning was supposed to be peaceful.
Outside of her coach, none of these people are the people who root for Caitlin Clark. And y'all remember I've said on previous videos, Angel Reese may not be the basketball player that Caitlin Clark is, but Angel Reese's marketing team does something very well, and that is catering to and maximizing her base. We all know who watch Caitlin Clark, guys. It's a conservative male audience, and Nike wants nothing to do with that. And when I saw that commercial yesterday,
instead, it transmitted the year's most powerful communication. The organization can champion collectivism continuously, but the audience has already decided. And once that decision solidifies, no quantity of seasonal goodwill can reverse fundamental change. The uncomfortable reality underlying everything is that the organization is now pursuing momentum rather than controlling it. Every action forward becomes responsive. Every statement sounds protective. Every attempt to recenter collectivism sounds like unwelcome reminder. The infrastructure was designed to allocate attention uniformly, not withstand gravitational pull this powerful. So the fury wasn't unreasonable. It was awareness that authority distribution has shifted, that established methodology no longer functions, and that women's basketball's next chapter may not wait obediently for organizational permission. When one commercial can restructure hierarchy instantly, the silence afterward isn't harmony, it's ambiguity.